Previously on High Scores, High Stakes.
With me, after a long hiatus, it is my co-host, Mr. John Sherry. How are you, mate? It is Halloween time. Halloween. And I can think of no better game for our challenge this week than one of the greatest games ever made. Resident Evil HD Remake. That voiceover, that voiceover is amazing. So this is it. You'll see that out of all four of us, I'm the only one booking it. Everyone else is just standing around. Oh, you're booking it too, I suppose.
I'm trying to.
Cardinal's looking at the typewriter in the
I'm trying to.
dining hall. I don't know.
That's what I was thinking. It's like, is he just like submitted a screenshot or what's going on there? I really hope if they ever make Dino Crisis Remake, you're literally in the credits as a thank you, special thanks to the one-man army who never gave up hope.
Well, it's for boss encounters basically, and that is you, Sherry.
That's all she wrote.
You have died 11
The same dogs. The same dog just got a Cardinal there.
If that speed, if my running speed was still maximum, I probably would have had time, but I just at this point I'm like, I don't have time. I just get what I can. So here's how it looked then. So Cardinal finished his run with 0 bullets and 1 key item. Okay, so that means Cardinal at the end of this challenge is getting 1 point. You, Sherry, are finishing third, so you get the 1 point for finishing third. You also finished with 4 bullets, which is 1 bonus point. And you finished with 1 key item, which is another bonus point. So that means you're finishing this week with 3 points. Tom has done a bit better, a lot better to be fair. He finished with 26 bullets, which by my maths means that he's getting 8 bonus points for that.
I believe you're right.
And then he's finished with 3 key items, which is a further 3 points. And he also finished second. So that means that Tom has finished this week with 13 points. I finished with 46 bullets, netting me 15 bonus points. And 12 key items, a further 12 points. Plus I've won it. So I am walking away on Halloween with 30 points. That is why Resident Evil is my favorite game of all time.
Now, on to this week's episode.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 10 of the High Scores, High Stakes podcast. The podcast that wants to be the king of the Iron Fist, but ends up falling into an active volcano. I'm your host, Mr. Luvva, and with me, as always, is my co-host.
He's back. I've been touching grass and I didn't like it, so I had to come back and touch virtual grass, go play some games.
Let's play games. I think
Tomahawk is back and ready to go.
Although, to be fair to you, based on your performance last week in Resident Evil, mate.
The less said about that, the better. Like, to be fair, I want to talk about the 1 in, 1 out policy that we seem to have going here. I've disappeared. Sherry's come back. Sherry's disappeared. I've come back. I don't know what's happening. Where's no cohesion these days?
It looks like only one of these hosts has any sort of thoughts of continuity, of dedication, of a relationship with our listeners, and that's me, the only member left to be in every single episode. And it's a disgrace. I just want to say that on behalf of everyone. It's an absolute disgrace.
Well, I did a poll and you weren't invited, but they all said that they don't like you. So I don't know if it's a good relationship, but it's a relationship nonetheless. It's forced.
It's an abusive relationship, I suppose. I'm forcing myself. Force myself on the audience to listen to my ramblings every single week. But speaking of last week, Tomahawk, the Halloween special that you missed, you were too frightened.
I know.
You were too frightened of zombies, too frightened of having to show your face of finishing a lowly second. But it was a terrible second. There's good seconds and there's bad seconds, and I'm not gonna lie, I was disappointed in all of you last week. I thought this is an opportunity. Just get bullets. Just get them. Just get key items. Really, really easy. Really, really simple. I do distinctly remember saying to you, writing will be key. And you went, yeah, 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 yeah. But no one listened.
It was a funny old challenge, but I've been touching back on it, but we will discuss in later on in this. Unless you want to do our usual preamble, we'll tell the listeners, first time listeners or whatever, what's going on.
I am going to explain exactly what high scores, high stakes is, Tom. Don't you worry about that.
Perfect.
High scores, high stakes is usually for friends. But recently, it's not been 4, it's been 2. But what we do is each and every week we pick a game and we challenge each other to do something in that game, and we compete in a league table. Whoever comes first will get 3 points, second gets 2 points, third gets 1 point, and last gets 0 points. It's really, really that simple. It's fresh. Last week's challenge game was Resident Evil, and Resident Evil's challenge was very simple. It was a scavenger hunt for bullets and key items. No one listened to the wise words of Luvva, the Resident Evil professional, semi-professional speedrunner.
Can you imagine that he didn't do well in this challenge? That would have been even funnier. But there we are.
I know, but if my granny had a wheel, she'd be a bicycle. It's irrelevant. So, what should have been a high scoring week last week was not a high scoring week. It was for me, but not for you, Cardinal or Sherry. I think last week's scores were something ridiculous. I finished that challenge with 30 points. You finished with 13. Sherry finished with 3. And Cardinal finished with 1. So that means that the league table at the end of last week, and I'm going to have to put a star here. Cardinal, as reported last week, finished it with 20 points. But I'm going to put a wee asterisk, and I'll come back to that at the end. Sherry is on 15 points. You are in second place with 41 points. And I am in first place, a whole heap ahead of you, 52 points. Now, let's go back to that asterisk I give to Cardinal. He's currently in third. So I said at the end of the episode, Cardinal started the week with 20 points. He got 1 point for picking up a key item in Resident Evil. And I think at the end I said he still has 20 points. That is obviously factually incorrect. And I blame the pressure put on me by everyone else just jumping ship and finding things to do, better things to do than this podcast, which is unbelievable. But yeah, Cardinal is actually on 21 points. So the league as it stands, fourth place, Sherry with 15. Cardinal in third place with 21. You're in second place with 41. I am in first place with 52 points.
Big
Easy.
Swing.
Easy
big swing.
peasy. Massive swing. Also, I have been doing my homework this week. I have been going through the annals of high scores, high stakes history for many reasons.
All we do is facts and stats.
But I have some stats.
Let's hear it. Let's do
I
this.
have some stats. Right, here we go. I have one stat for each of us. And we'll start with Cardinal Smith, Mr. Consistent. Last week marked, for the first time in high scores, high stakes history, Cardinal Smith finished 3 challenges in a row in 4th place. If it wasn't for the fact that it was a scavenger hunt with 1 point per key items, Cardinal would finish 3 weeks in a row with 0 points. Sherry's stat is similar but different. It's the first time in high scores, high stakes history, Sherry has a string of 3 consecutive weeks picking up points.
Oh, wow.
I know.
That's
good.
We've done, what's this now? 10 plus 9. This is the 20th points driven episode. That's crazy when you actually think about that.
Yeah. Yep. Here comes another interesting fact.
Oh god.
You in the 20 points driven episodes have never finished 4th. That I could find. You've never finished last.
Yeah, unless it's a team challenge, I think.
I don't count those because you'd be held back by your teammate like I was by Sherry. I'm coming for you, mate. And then here we go. The single biggest scoring game week in high scores, high stakes history. So the biggest individual score picked up was Cardinal Smith in Quake. I nearly equaled his Quake score in Resident Evil, which is quite
wow.
quite the feat.
Here we ended up, if I'm remembering correctly, 46 points. Bit of a fine polish on that run in Resi. You'd be knocking on
Yeah,
the door of that,
I,
definitely.
I made a couple of huge mistakes in my Resident Evil run. Like went through the dining room door twice, two more times than I should have. I also got caught by a couple of zombies, knocked down my running speed to the slowest possible. I think, and then I wasted time getting that music box because I thought the music box was a key.
On the list. And this is the thing, though. I fully went into that challenge thinking, I've got this. And then as soon as because I did the same thing as you, I had the game start and I just had the phone timer set
Yep.
right next to it. As soon as I hit go, I just went, okay, I don't remember anything now.
What I loved, my favorite thing was just Cardinal at the typewriter reading the descriptions.
Just staring into the void.
Just like, please, what do I do? There's one door.
I'm
One
gutted I
door.
missed it, but I watched the episode back and you just glide through the Spencer house. It's just it shows the knowledge I think you have of that game, and I think you need a hobby, mate.
My hobby is playing Resident Evil. Oh, and
You're
speaking of
banned.
Resident Evil,
You're not picking the challenges next season. I tell you, we're gonna have to go to an
whoa,
independent.
whoa,
No, we'll go into an independent
whoa,
body. I think
hold on a minute. What do you mean I'm not picking the challenges? I don't pick the challenges.
you just agree to them. I know.
we all pitch ideas. Every single one of us pitch ideas for games, and we, by committee, say yay or nay on games.
True.
And if memory serves me right, I said, "What about Resident Evil for Halloween?" And you're all like, "Well, yeah, that's just a great idea. Love it. You're just full of these great ideas. Please train me in your ways of great ideas." And that's exactly the way the conversation went.
I
And then
must
it
have
was
missed
a
that seminar.
72 slide seminar on how to make good ideas. And here we are. You were definitely there. Like your camera wasn't
I
working that
think
day. At least what you put in the chat.
maybe in body, not in mind or spirit, at least. Anyway. Oh dear.
so, so yeah, so that's the state of play. The state of play is the gap between me and you and Sherry and Cardinal is now absolutely enormous, and it's going to take some serious dropping of points from us, but gaining of points from the other two.
Yeah, definitely. It's two different leagues have opened up this time. It's not as clear cut as it was, or it's not as tight as it was, I should say, 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah,
Simple as
and
that.
it's getting to the point where we need challenges to have more than the standard 3-2-1, and it's a good thing that this week's challenge is exactly that. There is a load of points up for grabs tonight, a load of points, and Sherry and Cardinal have it all to do. But before we get into that, I think, Tom, the time has come. It has been 2 weeks
I know.
for me to ask you, what are you playing?
So spooky season has concluded according to the calendar.
It's never
Not so
concluded in
much,
our
yeah,
hearts.
not so much on the Tomahawk PlayStation hard drive. I recently just finished the House of Ashes.
Hmm?
Fantastic. I think that is actually the best one of the Dark Pictures anthology to date.
Yes, possibly. Yeah,
It
I think I
just
said a few weeks back. I think they got better and better,
yeah.
but I
And then
think
the Devil in Me is next. I think it's the
that's the
season one
last. It's the
finale.
season
Yeah.
finale. Yeah, I think
Uh,
the critics would disagree with us massively on that because I think Man of Medan is the highest rated of all of them.
it's really bizarre. Like I think it's
Hmm.
probably a good story, good twist, but I think just A House of Ashes just is starts at
Better.
11 and doesn't drop.
No, no.
But
I have exactly the same. I think it's really, really good. Maybe it's just recency bias, or maybe it's just
that's
because
it. Yeah.
the post credit scene is just incredible, and maybe
So good.
that's
So different from what they normally have done, like Supermassive, at least anyway.
honestly that without spoiling it for people who haven't played it because it is this month's
Still
PlayStation
fairly
Plus, isn't it?
recent, yeah.
Without spoiling it for anyone, I did not, for the life of me, see that coming. I probably should have, but I didn't, and it was just like, what?
I think what Supermassive have done really well, especially in the Dark Pictures anthology, is what the decisions you make aren't as clear cut as what your consequences are going to be. So I've made like a few choices um, in House of Ashes like quite early on and thought to myself, that's pretty like that's the right thing to do.
Innocuous.
And literally in the last half of the chapter, I was just like, why is everyone dying? This is
Yes,
terrible."
yes. There's one decision you make at the start when you fall into the hole in the ground. There's a decision you make at the very start of the game that the consequences for it is like 5-10 minutes before the end.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
It is crazy, and it's so hard to keep track of what you do. Even like the way it gives you all of
The
your
butterfly
choices.
effect?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
butterfly effect thing. It's so hard to kind of remember because sometimes you make like at the very start, if you do or don't shoot the bystander,
Yes.
that completely
Yep.
impacts at the very end. I'm just like, how are you supposed to?
Yep.
Of course, you're not going to do it, but at the same time, you're like, how's that
Should
going to
I?
impact anything? But it's done. It ticked off. I mean, that's you can fire through those games in a couple of hours, like without straining yourself too much. I I then caved. I wanted to redeem myself, so I've gone back to Resident Evil, and I'm gonna do.
A speed
I'm
run. 2.5
no,
hour speed run.
God no. I'm actually I. This is the first time. This is really interesting. The first time now that I have everything from 0 to 8.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking I'm just gonna in the background blast through them all chronologically.
Skip 6.
I say that I feel as if I need to just do it because I've never finished it.
6 would be great if it was just Leon and Wesker boy, whose name Jake. It would be great if it was just those two. Chris's campaign has probably the best boss in the game. But it's just the fact you have to play through 4 campaigns.
Aye, that's right. It's
just
very heavy on the
about
narratives, yeah.
it's about a 30-hour game because you have to play through the game 4 times from slightly different perspectives. And then the thing that got me was, and I get what Capcom were going for, I really do, is they wanted these big multiplayer boss battles where you'd have like 6 players, but the fact that you fight the same 4 or 5 bosses for every single character,
There's no variation, yeah.
there's none. The individual bosses are all right. I like Jake's campaign because of the nemesis type enemy that's stalking you. That's good. Leon's campaign starts off cracking and sort of falls to pieces near after the church. But the game itself it's a mess. It is.
Yeah, I remember being the
mess.
weakest of the sort of series, really.
It's a mess. It's a shambles. The
I
whole
remember,
game's a shambles.
if I remember correctly, on the X, because I had it, I think, on the 360 back in the day. Am I right in saying it was a double disc? Possibly.
I had it on PlayStation 3, so it was a Blu-ray.
True.
I don't. Probably a lot of
Check
games were.
check that one then.
Yeah, and we'll come back to it. I don't know. I never played it in 360. I played it on the PlayStation 3. And then again on the PlayStation 4, thinking maybe I judged this too hard. No, no, I did not.
That's it, because I think I did a bit of a spot check on the whole series. I've played them all, or at least I finished them all and played some of them. I've never played Resident Evil 3.
Absolutely insanity. The remake's really good. It got a hard out time, I think, from critics and players. Oh, it's not Resident Evil 3, you know. Oh, they cut the clock tower and all's here business. I've made issues with it. It's not perfect. It's really fun and it's really good to play. And what they cut out, like the clock tower and stuff. Clock tower is a great part of the original. It's the most Resident Evil 1 sort of part of the original game. That's gone. But in its place is you control Carlos a lot more. So you go to the hospital and you go into Raccoon Police Department.
Okay.
It's just
because it's tandem. It runs parallel to Resi 2, yeah.
2 hours before, 2 hours after, I think, is the official time frame. So
Okay.
from the Nemesis getting Jill to Jill passing out midway through is a couple of hours before Resident Evil 2. She passes out, Resident Evil 2 happens, and then she wakes up, and then Resident Evil 3 continues.
Okay.
That's the official timeline.
Okay.
So
Fair
it is,
enough.
but it's a good game. I really enjoyed it. I think I completed it, and then restarted it instantly again and play it on a higher
It's
difficulty.
one
It was
of
really
them
good.
ones that I think it just kind of whenever I was trying to go back and play them on the older consoles before this whole master remake fad happened,
Yeah.
I was accumulating them across all the different platforms, and the plan was to do it like 10 years ago when we only had Resident Evil 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just like, ah, now's as good a time as any. They're all on one console now, so
You see, that's it. That's it. That was, I think PlayStation 4, sort of Xbox One, is the first time I can think of that every single Resident Evil has been available on one console. I know the GameCube, but I mean, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3 were just literal PC ports brought over
that's
but
it.
on a
Yes.
smaller disc. But I think it's the first time I remember where every single Resident Evil is now playable, including most of the spin-offs. So Revelations 2, Code Veronica are all playable on PlayStation,
They're all there as well.
and
Yes. No. So
they're all worth a play, all three of them. I think
what a time to be
Revelations is
alive.
good. Yeah, what a time to be alive indeed. So Resident Evil 3 is on your list to do next.
That's it. I'm gonna redeem myself on Resident Evil 1, and then I'm just gonna hammer through the full 8 installments, I think. Just
Do you
that'll
have
tide me
0?
over. I do. I picked up 0 the other day because I had accumulated points on my PlayStation Stars, and
Yay!
that gave me wallet points or wallet money. So got it for like
Sweet.
£3, so can't complain.
Resident Evil 0 is well worth it. I think Resident Evil 0 falls apart, but the opening area is incredible. It's
It's on the
incredible.
train, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a great, great
So
part
yeah,
of the game.
that's pretty much what is on my horizons for the next that'll probably take the next couple of months at least anyway. So TBC on that progress there. So what about yourself, Luvva? What have we been playing then this last 7 days?
Well, I have actually beaten 2 games this week. Two,
Fantastic.
two. Drink it in, drink it in.
Regale me.
I picked up Costume Quest 1 and 2 after it appeared on this day on PlayStation a couple of weeks back. I blasted through Costume Quest 1. Really excellent game, really funny. Absolutely no challenge in it at all. It's just
Yeah.
like a nice wee 5-6 hour RPG. It's really charming, really funny. The story goes places you don't expect it to go. Um, and then I started the and then I started the DLC. It's called Grubbins on Ice, and it's set at Christmas. So I was like, maybe now is not the right time to play
Bit
this.
early, but
And then I checked the achievement list, and sure enough, there's an achievement for playing Grubbins on Ice on Christmas Day. So I'll hold off on that. But it seems really good. The the base game's brilliant, absolutely fantastic. It doesn't do anything new, but it's really funny and really charming. It looks great and it sounds great, and it's just a double fine game, all 3 and 3. Grubbins on Ice. I've started that. You go through a portal at Christmas, and one of your friends gets kidnapped, and you have to save your friend. But of course, you go through the portal, and it's an unbeatable battle. And you
right.
wind up being held captive in the other world where these goblins come from. And I was like, oh, this is Christmas. I'll leave this till Christmas.
That's it when it's more relevant. then,
More
I guess.
appropriate, but it really good. I think I got both
Okay.
of them. Caution Quest 1, Caution Quest 2, plus the DLC for like £3.70 on Steam. Well worth it. Brilliant game.
Incredible.
Brilliant game. I also beat Zombie Revenge on the Dreamcast. So I did.
Oh, that's
Really?
the arcade
Yeah,
style
yeah.
one, wasn't
Like
it? Yeah.
House of the Dead 2, only arcade beat 'em up. Really good. Really good. Really challenging. It eats. You can just continue as if you're putting a coin in. Like, so there's no actual penalty for
You're not
dying.
pushed back or nothing like that. Yeah.
Nah. It's just good crack. It's really good fun. It's like it reminded me of Dynamite Cop 2, also on the Dreamcast. might be using the same engine.
Okay.
So Dynamite Cop 2 is just Dynamite Cop, but Dynamite Cop in the US was branded Die Hard Arcade, but they lost the license.
Okay.
So they had to just call it Dynamite Cop 2. And it's on a boat, not a hotel. But it's really good. Really good. So Revenge is great. I'm pretty sure it's based in the same engine because a lot of the stuff in Dynamite Cop is in this game. It
Right.
doesn't
Okay. It's
feel
very
very
cut and
different.
paste then. Yeah.
Yeah, but really good.
Okay.
Worth it. I don't know if it was worth the money I spent on it. I spent a
Sure. You say that
lot
now.
of money on that game. A lot. I don't know if it was worth what I spent on it, but really good fun, and I'll definitely play it again because there's more than one character, and apparently the story changes depending on you make decisions where you want to go and stuff. So it's
Okay.
like go forward or go right, that sort of decision. So I'll play through it again with the other characters and see what the crack is. And then I have also been playing Relic Hunters.
Yes,
On
you've been chatting about this out of off
Yeah.
record as well.
Yeah,
You
so
and you and Sherry actually.
Relic Hunters is really good. It's kind of like it's like Borderlands and Destiny, but in a top-down twin-stick shooter. And it was one of those games where I was just playing it. You play through the tutorial levels, and it's like, oh, this is quite fun. It's really easy, and then it hits a point in there's a world map, like think Mario World, where you finish a level and it goes to an overworld. It's just a
Yeah.
map, and you can pick the next place. But I got to a point where it was all locked, so I could only had like 8 missions that I've just had to replay over and over again, and I couldn't understand why the rest of it was locked. So it said like I have to get to Rebel level 2, but nowhere does it say what that means. Like how do
Okay.
I do that? So you have to. There's a whole heap of stuff going on in the background in that game. So you have like gear level, you have like tiers of gear, so green, orange, purple, gold. That sort of classic looter shooter style.
Yeah.
But you also have there's challenges you can do, but the game doesn't explicitly tell you you're doing challenges. And then you have to go into the menu, find those challenges, and it's all separated into chapters in the story, and then you have to redeem them, and then that boosts up your rebel
All right.
level.
Okay.
So the game could have explained that at some point, I thought, but now I know what's going on. I've actually unlocked a whole heap of more missions. It's getting difficult. So it's a multiplayer. You can play with up to 3 other people, and it's just drop in, drop out multiplayer.
Okay.
It's getting to points now where I need other hunters because my gear level's just a wee bit too low.
Right. Okay.
But it's really good. Again, it's really funny. The story is ridiculous. So you are this guy called Seven, and you have a machine in your pocket, and you have amnesia. Of course, you have amnesia.
Standard. Yeah.
And you get attacked by these, basically the the Galactic Imperial, like
Okay.
from
Yes.
Star
yes.
Wars. And they want the machine you have. You don't know why, but they want it. And then the machine gets eaten by a giant like snake, and then
Right.
you have to chase that snake, and that's the game.
This
So
sounds like if it was made into a movie, that Dwayne Johnson would play the lead role for some reason.
in a
I f-
t-shirt
Yeah.
and khaki trousers, yeah.
Exactly. That's all I'm envisioning him chasing a giant snake as well.
And that's basically the game. The game is really fun. It gets really difficult, and it becomes almost bullet hell at points. There's just so many enemies on screen, all firing at you. It's really good. It's like the gunplay is kind of like Enter the Gungeon, if you've ever
Right.
played that.
Okay. No.
Okay, so Enter the Gungeon's like a roguelike top-down shooter, but if you have a shotgun, you have to press the trigger for every individual shot. If you have a revolver,
Oh,
you have to do it for every
yeah.
individual shot. And then if you hold down a machine gun, then your
Just spray
reticle
it
will
then,
sway, yeah. And you have to sort of pump. It's the gunplay is very much like that. Really, really good game. And I think it's dirt cheap. It's on alpha, I think, at the minute, or maybe beta. It's not the finished product. It's not the release. It's still like 0.07, I think, is the
Okay.
version. So it hasn't yet met full release. And it is like a reimagining. I think Relic Hunters came out in like 2017, but it was like a real indie game, and I think it was Flash. And this is just
Oh, okay.
when we now have a team of like, I think it's like 12 people. I don't even think it is 12. and they've reimagined it and now make it into a bigger title. But it's really, really good.
Very good.
I'm really enjoying it. I can see myself playing it for a brave wee while because there's loads of missions and there's like loads of like horde mode and there's like all these dungeons and stuff like this. So it seems to be a whole heap of content, but a lot of it's locked because it's not released yet or I'm
That's
not
it,
high enough
yes.
level and stuff like that. But it's honestly really good fun.
At
Not
least
my
it's at least experience like blockers and not paywall blockers, I think. So that's
and that's
quite
it.
refreshing.
And that's it. I've no doubt in my mind. Like I know at Halloween they had like an event where you can get like Halloween hats. But you didn't
Okay.
have to. You didn't have
You
to
don't
pay
have
it.
to chime in on it, like yeah.
Yeah, you didn't even have to play the game to get them. You literally just had to sign up for like their social hub, so their stat collecting site. So like Halo,
Yes.
remember that Halo site? The name escapes me at the minute. Halo Whitereach, I think it was called. It's kind of like that. So we're collecting your stats, but here's some hats.
I have some free stuff to excuse our data mining.
We'll take your stats for these hats. Take
Sure,
one.
it is what it
So
is.
it's a really good game. Not my usual static game at all. I don't like looter shooters, but really, really good fun. I'm really
It sounds like
enjoying
you're having a lot of your game that are quite no, not really much thinking about. You just can put an hour or two into it and then just detach.
And that's it. That's it.
That's what you want.
I have Alan Wake downloaded the remaster in the PlayStation, and I also have that Callisto Protocol downloaded. But I'll be
Alright.
honest with you, I cannot be bothered because I know it's going to be 10, 12 hours. And just right now, I'm just looking games just to play.
That's it. I've been dipping in and out actually just before we do move on and back into Sea of Stars. Because
Ooh,
every time I play it, I keep thinking I'm getting to the natural conclusion point.
but you're not.
And then it just goes, here's more stuff to do.
Here's another mission.
I know, it's like the whole game they're talking about the Dweller of Strife, and that's the
Yes.
big bad boss. And I fought the big bad boss, and then the bigger bad boss appeared and just went, well, I'm going to take the Dweller of Strife and I'm going to make him even more powerfuler.
Ah, that's classic JRPG stuff. I love it.
I think it's great.
Love.
The game is so good, and I'll not say anything more without spoiling, but one of the
Yeah.
characters has basically just been like, I'm going to help you because of a certain plot device that is forcing this on me, and it's going to be sad, and you know it.
Yes. I can't
It's
wait to
so
start
good.
it. I have played a wee bit of it, but
I've put about 17 hours into it so far, and I think there's probably still another 10 or so to go.
okay. See,
I think it's a good 30-hour story from even from what I've read. That's the rough average.
yeah. See, the thing about it is, I really want to play it, and I have started on the PlayStation 5, but to me, it doesn't. And this is a me issue, and I'm fully aware of it before anyone gets and goes, "Yeah, you're wrong." There's certain types of games I think shouldn't be played in a home console, and a retro style
I
RPG
get
is
you.
exactly
I do get
one
you
of them.
though. Yeah.
I'm waiting for it because I have it on PlayStation. I don't want to double dip full price. I'm waiting for it to drop on Steam so I can get it for the deck because I think I will play it on the deck.
Oh God,
100%.
I know absolutely. I 100% get where you're coming from. I like that's why I only maybe dip into about half an hour at a time on it now because
Yeah.
it's kind of not the game. I don't feel as if I'm achieving anything in my
Yeah.
gaming catalog if I'm just
Yeah.
with that basically.
It's a I know it's a me problem, but there's like I really love handheld gaming.
Yeah, but
Uh,
it's a game that's absolutely that
built for
kind
it.
of throwback
Mm-hmm.
of the old school top-down RPGs.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yep.
It is such a good game. Like,
I,
and it's
I've,
actually just got to the point now where I'm sitting there going because it's now they split all the characters up, so
mhm.
you can pick from the brother and I say the brother and sister, the boy and the girl character.
Yeah.
But I'm at this point now where they sent the boy character off to one island, but
And
they sent the girl character to a different island. So I'm wondering, does the playthrough change depending on which character you've picked?
Okay. Yeah.
Or
Possibly.
if I pick the girl, would the girl go where the boy's going now, and then they just switch
You
it
never
that way?
see the other part of the game.
Yeah.
It's like Chrono Trigger, isn't it?
Chrono Trigger, yeah.
Time. There's a time element to it, isn't there?
A little bit. It's kind of more for like puzzle based things, like, but
Yeah.
you can shift the time of day to activate crystals and move bridges and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's that's a deep dive episode if there ever was one.
Here's a question for you: have you ever played Chrono Trigger?
No, but I have listened to shout out Play Along podcast. They did
Okay.
a full rundown of it over like 10 episodes of them.
That's what I was gonna say.
It's
There's about,
quite intense.
I
Yeah.
think there's like 16 endings or something. It's
Jesus.
wild. It's great. I don't know what, I don't know where I was listening to, but it was like, yeah, this is Chrono Cross. Only now.
Crazy.
And I was like, I'm sold. Give me it. Put it in my
I'll-
veins.
I'll-
and then
I'll
I
look
sat the
into it.
PlayStation.
I'll look into it, but it's
I
and
think
there's
it
a
might be
lot
one
on
of
my
those.
there's a lot on my plate right now.
I don't think you can play Chrono Cross without delving into. I don't think there's any legal way of playing it. Put it that
Aye,
way.
that's it. Yes,
Put it that
yes.
way.
And we're
The
not
rights holders
condoning
don't
it.
want us. They don't want us to have it. So how
Oh,
you
dear,
play
dear.
it, how you get around those restrictions is entirely up to you. And speaking of getting around restrictions, Tom, let's get around the restriction of this first section by getting straight into our challenge game this week, which is, of course, for the avid listener, Tekken 7. So let's get there. And this is it, the challenge game, Tom, of episode 10. 2 more after this. 2 more. You know what you have to do. You have an 11-point deficit to pick up on. Cardinal knows what he has to do. He's a 31-point deficit. And Sherry, well, he's got a 6-point deficit if he doesn't want to finish last.
Aye, that's it.
You know, there's a lot to be doing here. But Tekken 7, mate, one of the finest fighting games ever made. I'm just going to say it right now. It was probably my favorite fighting game until Tekken 6. Tekken 6? Street Fighter 6. Tekken on the head here. My personal favorite fighting game until Street Fighter 6 released earlier this year. Great game, great game. So tell me, Tekken, Tom.
Tekken
me-
has been one of those games. I think it's always one of those ones that my cousin had PlayStation 1. He'd have just brought it to the house over like the summer holidays and stuff, and basically would have just been like, right, we're all playing Tekken, but it's gonna be round robin, and I'm gonna beat all of yous for all the daylight hours, basically.
It sounds like my house.
Fast forward to Tekken Tag Tournament.
Ooh.
The man hours I put into that.
Oh, what a game.
Learning
What a game.
all the combos, and then just having, like, you know, when you just have your pair and
Yep.
that's it. And then for some reason the Tekken Tag Tournament bowling minigame took over my life.
Oh, mate, one of my favorite things of Tekken is wild, and they don't care about breaking the norms. So Tekken Tag Tournament's bowling mode was utterly
It's incredible.
bonkers. It makes no sense, but they just didn't care. It just, if anything, it screams Japanese. Is here's these
Yeah.
random mini games, and it's the sort of thing. It started with Tekken 3 in the PlayStation 1. So I don't know if you recall Tekken 3 on the PlayStation 1. You had your arcade mode. Then you had, like, if you did certain things, you unlock certain characters. We also unlocked certain modes, and one of them was Tekken Force mode. Do you remember Tekken Force mode?
It rings a bell, but
So
for the
Tekken
sake of the listeners who don't
for
know,
the sake of the listeners, Tekken Force mode was you take the combat mechanics of Tekken and you put it into a 2D scrolling beat 'em up. And it was a fully fledged. I think you could have released Tekken Force as a game, charged 20 quid for it, and no one would have batted an eyelid. In my memory, it
Yeah, I
had
picked it up,
six stages. Each stage had a halfway boss and a final boss, which was just characters from the game, and you had to fight them one on one. It was just, what a game mode. And then you had Tekken Ball, which was volleyball.
yes.
Do you
Oh
remember
my
that?
god, yes, I do. They also, if I remember correctly, had a pinball function as well. I think there was like a tech. I think maybe
I don't recall that. I don't recall that.
I'm convinced that they had
It's
either it wasn't part of a main game or it was like a arcade like add-on that they did. But it's, you know, being Japanese, it wouldn't surprise me.
no, not at all. And it wouldn't surprise me in Tekken at all. There's a couple of Tekken games I skipped for one reason or another. So it wouldn't surprise me if, like, Tekken 4, for example, had a pinball mode at all. It really, really wouldn't. But yeah, so PlayStation 1 and then Tekken Tag Tournament. Tekken Tag Tournament is the main game.
Tekken Tag Tournament was my bread and butter for a good long time. And then I think there was just a void. And then suddenly Tekken 7 happened. And I'm just like, now you're speaking my language. And then obviously we did this whole thing where you dip into Street Fighter for a brave while. But I think where Tekken kind of edges it for me is Tekken doesn't take itself massively seriously in terms
Yep.
of here's the buttons, here's what you need to press, here's how you need to learn the controls. Whereas Street Fighter requires a bit more of a proficient uh,
Yeah.
head on your shoulders, which I don't have.
Yes. Yeah. That's. I think that's just a side effect of it being 3D. I think. Yeah. So Street Fighter does require. It demands that you learn it, and until you learn Street Fighter, you're gonna have limited fun.
Yeah.
I think is a fair way of saying it, and that started. I hate Street Fighter 3 probably started that whole, you will need to get good at this game to get any sort of glean any enjoyment from it. I don't mind that. I didn't mind that when I was a much younger man. Now, yeah, there's a lot to be said for just a game to have like limitless depth. Tekken is really deep, but you don't have to engage with anything other than 4 buttons and
That's
and
it.
that's
Yes.
it. And you can have an absolute field day with it. It's one of the few games where I think low level play, if you have someone who's half decent at Tekken, they will dominate, but they won't dominate it in a fashion that's unfun for everyone else.
You quickly learn everyone's kind of play method and play style. Whereas, like, if you're trying that on Street Fighter, you have to match their level. You have to try and match their level. Whereas, like, you can learn how to do a handy counter and a handy grab or something on Tekken that way.
Tekken very much is as well. It wants you, Tekken 7 especially wants you to pressure people. Like the game seems to be balanced around pressure, pressure, pressure. Not letting someone do what they want and not letting someone dictate sort of the pace of the game. Tekken's always been quite like that. I thought. I mean, my history with Tekken goes right back. I remember seeing a video for Tekken 1 way back when I was a tiny little lover. And I remember seeing a video. I think it might be on Games Master, for Tekken, and it's just like, whoa, that looks amazing. I remember getting the PlayStation 1, but not getting Tekken with it. I think we got Ridge Racer with ours.
Okay.
And Cyber Sled, that classic. And I think we got Tekken with Tekken 2 is the
Right.
first one we ever owned. Tekken 2 was it was brilliant. For as good as Virtua Fighter 2 was, I think Tekken 2 was better. I know I'm in the minority in that, but I think Tekken 2 was better than Virtua Fighter 2. And then, and then day of release, I got the special edition of Tekken 3, and all it was you got a PlayStation CD holder with the words Tekken 3. That was the special edition.
Fantastic.
But
None
Tekken
of this
3,
none of this character skins and all that kind of stuff back in the day. No,
No.
you got physical stuff.
A physical thing, and it came in a cardboard elongated box. But yeah, you got a physical thing. Tekken 3, to my memory, did not leave my PlayStation until Ridge Racer Type 4 came out.
It changed the game, didn't it? Like Tekken 3 just kind of like took everything about fighting games and just went like, actually, let's crank it up a bit.
It was frightening because I remember playing Tekken 3 in the arcade, and Tekken 3 was basically just a reskinned, slightly faster with more characters. Tekken 2 almost. It looked awful. Like Tekken 3 in the arcades looked awful. It looked like Tekken 2, but with less Garo shading. So it just looked like this weird mix between Tekken 1 Tekken 2, and it looked like a PlayStation 1 game. And then when the PlayStation 1 port, in inverted commas, came out, it looked miles better than the arcade. And I mean miles better.
I'd wonder about that, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's just my memory of it. That is my memory of it. I remember it looking way better than the arcade. It had way more characters. It had way more game modes. It was just way more fun. I just remember Tekken 3. It blew my mind how good it was.
Yeah.
It was incredible, and it just kept that sense of fun, and it was just fantastic. The new characters you brought into it, so you had like Eddie Gordo, Huang, and all his hair business. It was great. And you had all the weird jokey characters as well, like the little dinosaur, Gone, I think you called them.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And you had Doctor Buskosnovich as well.
I still think the fact that this game can get away with putting Panda and Bear.
Kuma and Panda.
Yeah.
I
And
think
I think if I remember correctly, they were alternate skins, so they weren't actually two separate characters. Oh, I think on one of the games, I think Tekken Tag, they were alternate skins. They weren't actually two different characters.
no, they were just the same character. Yeah. So Kuma, I think, was Tekken 2. I think he was introduced. He was like a bodyguard for Jin's mum, whose name is Jun. I think Kuma was this the story that this is my bodyguard and it's a bear. And then in Tekken 3, I think Panda was the bodyguard for the little Chinese girl whose name escapes me completely. It'll come to me later on. But that was they're always alternate skins for one another until Tekken Tag 2. I think Tekken Tag 2 may have made them
as actual
distinct
separate
characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know for sure Tekken 7.
They are
Panda's
definitely two
they're
different characters.
two
in
separate
7, yeah.
characters because I know. I think a few years back, maybe 2021, maybe Panda won Evo. The player who won Evo was Panda.
My days.
And it was I think it was the first time in history that it happened.
That's it. I suppose everyone's got it's Jin, Kazuya, Yoshimitsu, Huang, that kind of. Yeah, you've got those kind of ones who are King and everything like that as well.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. That's really cool, that actually.
Yeah. It's not very often you see people do those characters in the main things. And then after Tekken 3, honestly, I think the next Tekken game I played was Dark Resurrection on the Game Boy Advance, which was amazing. It was so good.
Wild.
And then I played, I can't remember what it was called in the PSP. There was a Tekken game in the PSP. It was great too. And then that was it until Tekken Revolution, which was Tekken Tag but free to play.
Oh, okay.
And it was really quite good. It was a bit pay to win. Well, it was very pay to win.
Yeah.
But it was really good fun. And then that was it. And then Tekken 7 happened. And yeah, I think I bought Tekken 7 really quick after it came out. And then just sort of...
I know, I got it definitely. I just got it on Plus, and then we sort of had said about this for the pod, and I think that's all she wrote after that. I was just, I'm very much in, might use real money and buy Tekken 8 in the new year.
Yeah, I definitely am. I played the beta for it last week.
That's right.
It was amazing. It was amazing. There's a few things I don't like about it. I was speaking with Sherry last week about them, like the auto combo and stuff. I don't know about that.
Oh, really? That's annoying.
Well, it's just L1, and it's a bar. It starts full. It has limited use, and once it's empty, it doesn't refill and things like that. But it's just, I can see what it's there for. It's there to narrow the gap between top players and not so top players. But I don't know. It's just something
it's
about
like a inadvertent rubber band kind of situation, is it?
Yeah, I think it's very much purposeful, but there's a whole heap of stuff in it. Like, so you have throw techs have slightly changed as well. So you can tech at the start of a throw, or you can tech halfway through a throw, and you'll still take damage of halfway through, but it's halves and stuff. And recovery frames, you're always on minus and stuff. But it seems it's really, really good. I loved it. It looked incredible. Like, it was ridiculous how good it looked. I couldn't believe. I think it's Unreal 5 it uses, but yeah, really good.
My brother sent me the code for the beta, and I was just like, I'm on holiday, yeah. And he goes, nope.
You do now.
So I'm pretty sure he never got to use the beta either. So code wasted, sadly.
Tekken 7 is a great game.
I've had so much fun playing this.
Since playing this, I've bought it on Steam.
Of course you did.
Of course it did. Because why not? Why not play Tekken on the go?
I've never seen a man double dip into games so much than you do. But then this is the curse of the Steam Deck, I suppose.
It is. It is. It's like, oh, it's in a humble bundle. Oh, it's how much? Okay.
Point.
Thank you, Daddy Gabe.
Oh dear.
And that's it. So I think Tekken has been bled dry, so to speak. So let's explain what the challenge is this week. So last season, you may recall Street Fighter V, Tomahawk. You may also recall that you finished last in that one.
Yes.
My stat earlier on was
dead
wrong.
last.
My stat earlier on was wrong. You have
Yeah, I need a
finished
new
last.
stat for next week now.
See you later, stat. But you may recall we did a tournament in Street Fighter V. So basically, we did a draw and we played the person in a semi-final. The two winners went into the final. Two losers went into the third place playoff. I finished third. Cardinal came second. Sherry won Street Fighter V. So we thought, let's not do the same thing this time with Tekken. So we have decided to change the format of our fighting, and it is a round robin. So basically, we're going to fight each other once, and the points will be divvied out. Every round you win will get you 1 point for the league, and that's it. It's lovely.
Can't beat.
Simplicity.
That's it. Easy peasy. 9 points maximum.
Maximum 9 points.
So that's we did say we wanted a big points week, and we're getting one.
Well, we should get one, shall we say? But yeah, so that's it. It's really simple. Some people say fighting games are the purest form of video games, where it is win or lose. It's very seldom do you draw. And this is exactly what we're going for in this podcast. Keep it simple, keep it pure. So I think, without any further ado, shall we hit that play button, Tom?
Let's do it.
Right, so here we are at the start of our round robin Tekken 7 tournament? Tournament, is that the right word?
I think a bonanza. I'm going to go with absolute
Bonanza.
carnage bonanza, Lollapalooza. Let's do that.
Absolute carnage. So we do have a run order here, and it was randomly generated, but not by our wheel. Ooh.
For a change. I wouldn't
so
trust the wheel.
The first match you can probably see on screen is Tomahawk versus me. So Tomahawk.
Instant classic.
Instant classic. Any final words you want to say before we hit play?
No, I feel as if the footage is going to say more than I ever could.
Just before you do hit play, one thing I want to say is we set it to the default. I think it's 60-second rounds, first to 3 to win. Classic Tekken with. So let's go. Let's hit that play button, mate.
Go straight into it.
Straight into it. Oh, so me versus you, Tom. The heavy hitters opening things up. I absolutely love it. So let's explain who is who. So Tom, tell me, what character did you pick?
I went with Yoshimitsu, my tried and tested samurai alien.
Yeah, in a Bullet Club
t-shirt and neon trousers.
I, on the other hand, picked one of the greatest characters in video game history, Hoang. And I am dressed like, I don't know, Ghost Rider, I think is the best way to describe
exactly
it.
that. So, fun fact, actually, these were my parents' in Tekken Tag tournament. This was my go-to team.
Okay. My go-to team was Hoang and Li Wulong, the grizzled cop who was quite clearly based on Jackie Chan. And that is the first round done, mate. You have took the first round. Quite handy as well.
It was tight again. It was one of those similar fashion to last season. You had took everyone down quite low health, and then a big rally on my part. So very lucky to have come away with that. And you've 2-0 lead right now.
2-0 lead, and we go to the riff for the dramatic final showdown. So right now, third round, you have won the first 2. I have picked up nothing, but it's all my back's against the wall, I think, here, and I can see you using the L1 button, you wee cheeky devil.
Oh, I do. I think this is the fun part about using the footage that I recorded and uploaded. You can see it just flash on and off to the screen, and I'm just trying my hardest to get something in, but you're doing exactly what you do best and closing the gap and stopping me from playing my game.
Yeah.
And you're just, it's body shots and head kicks. That's your game plan, and it's pulled your point back. So
Absolutely. So I have picked up my first point. So it's currently 2-1. We're still on the roof of this factory. I think it's Mishima building. So why are you pushing the L1 button? Out of curiosity,
if you
do you know what the
if you
L1 button
hold
does?
if you hold the L1 button, it brings up your prompts for like your flying knees and these other like see this one where I like climb on you with the samurai swords.
Yeah. So L1 does more than just show you. L1 is like easy combos. So you hold L1 and then those moves are actually quite complicated strings or button prompts.
Oh right,
So
okay.
yeah, so it's one of those things. I try to avoid it. Just I use it in practice mode just to practice timing and stuff. But yeah, it's interesting. It's I actually forgot that existed in Tekken 7. That's just basically where it's come from in Tekken 8. It's just the evolution of that. Of shit, why sure just
Just looking at
do
this
it.
back here now, and
So,
you've well figured out what my game plan is at the minute, but
but you have me down into rage, and I went for my rage and missed. So now
that's
I'm sitting
twice that's
dangerously
happened as
low.
well, and that was
Oh.
tighter than I remember actually.
Yeah, yes, that was a wee slow motion finisher. So it was. So that one then between me and you finished 3-2 to me. So you've started quite strong. Two is if you're not going to get three, two is what you want to get. You want to take everyone the full distance, and you did
That's
take me
it.
distance. I had about 10% of my bar left, if even. I was flashing. I was in my rage. I was flashing rage. So I was down to below 25% health.
Oh,
So
I'll take the 2 points, but I think what's hurting me more is that I'd thrown away a 2 game lead there. So
mhm.
what could have been a whitewash has been a great comeback on the others on for you yourself at least anyway.
You snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. Some would say,
That's
Tomahawk.
it, as we love to say in this podcast as well.
Yeah, it was a good comeback. The third round was particularly. The second round was my strongest round. I think it took me a wee while to get warmed up. I think was my issue. Um, so it was. So, but yeah. So now next up then is Sherry versus Cardinal. The finalists from Street Fighter come face to face once more. Will the result be the same or will it be different? Because you might recall, I think in Street Fighter, Sherry whitewashed Cardinal
He did,
in
yes.
all
It was
three
very
games.
much 3-0. Yeah, that's right.
2-0,
So
3-0,
Sherry's
2-0.
gone for
King
King and
and
Devil Jin.
Cardinal has went for Devil Jin, which is an interesting character choice because Devil Jin's not that good.
No,
I
I
don't think.
I don't particularly enjoy him as a character. I think as well the wings just get in the way
Yes.
of
Is that?
not so much not doesn't impede his combat ability, but I think that just
Oh,
it's annoying to it pulls focus from what you're supposed to be doing in there, and
that is
that's a
a
great
great win.
comeback for
So
Sherry there.
Sherry on from looking like he was going to go down brave and easy comes back, finishes Cardinal off with a wee rage combo. It's a good fight, but yeah, Devil Jin. I don't know what it is. His moveset is way more limited than regular Jin, and he seems slower, but he hits way harder. But he's just not a good character, I don't think at all.
It's a panic choice from Cardinal, I think, as well. But that's the game's leveled up one apiece now.
Yeah,
But what I think, fair play to Cardinal on this as well. He comes in, he doesn't just come in and go looking for, big hitting combos. He actually is quite, what am I trying to say? He's very controlled and very concise in his movements, and he doesn't make a punch if he doesn't need to, I suppose.
yeah, yeah. His fundamentals are quite good in this because you're right. He doesn't really attack, and when he does, he gets punished big time every single time. Sherry's just punishing any whiffs. But yeah, so right now it is 2-1 to Sherry, but he's taking an absolute kicking. And he goes again with his rage combo. I don't know how that missed
That's yes. That we were because we were watching. Me and you were obviously watching this in the fight
the
lobby.
lobby.
Going, how was that not registered?
Yeah, so Sherry there goes for his rage combo. Starts with an overhead punch, which connects, but then he misses the grab.
It's like he
it's a
passes through him
wild.
nearly, and then they end up back to back, which completely throws me.
And then Cardinal as Jin has a faster turn speed and move than King. So right now it's 2-2. Sherry is on death's door. He just uses rage combo. Cardinal's about halfway down through his health bar,
Oh,
and Cardinal has just took it with an overhead double strike. So that finished off then. Another 3-2. This time Cardinal has took 3 points, which brings us on. That was a good fight.
that was very good. It was a lot closer than I remember. Actually, I did think that Cardinal kind of just took the polish off of Sherry's performance. There, Sherry did a bloody great fight in that as well.
Mhm.
But Cardinals took himself off with 3 points there. It's a good
Yeah.
start.
Yep, I know Sherry's always played King in Tekken 2 and Tekken 3 and stuff. He's a weird choice. I like the idea of King. If it was me, I would pick Armor King. Because
It's the
Armor
pro
King's just
wrestler. That's all it
he's
is. It's the pro
yeah,
wrestler that Sherry is getting behind here, and
but he's so grab dependent. So he is, and it's just a load of his grabs can be chained and stuff, and it looks magnificent when you get it. But it's just a strange character choice. I wouldn't pick him. I would pick Armor King over regular King, but I think Sherry only has the base game, therefore Armor King is not available to him.
that's right. Yes.
But I wouldn't go near King. I don't think you could pay me to be King. But this brings us on to our third fight of the round robin then, and it is you versus Cardinal. So let's see how this one's going to work.
This is very much going to be redemption for my on my part. I'd hope I've never felt more confident. I'm hoping to kind of shake that this season. So
You'll never shake it.
I'll
We'll
never
go-
shake it. But
There'll
what I
be
can do,
T-shirts.
I can wash it away and hope that we can just drown it out at some point.
Yeah. So you have obviously we stick with our characters in this podcast, but apparently Cardinal didn't get the memo. So we queried this at the time, and he's like, "I didn't realize the time counted down."
That was incredible.
And he was, I think, Law might be beside Devil Jin and the character select screen. So he is Law, and he's taking a pounding.
Like this is what I thought was quite funny. Again, I did the same thing in Trials where I maybe spent a bit too much time on the character customization than the actual like
Game.
fighting of the game because Cardinals took me to the wire there, but
Yeah.
very, very close. No, but I figured stand out, wear a Bullet Club t-shirt, wear neon trousers. Why the hell not?
I love it. I think every fight I wear a different outfit, but
You're just
but
right.
don't quote me on that. But yeah, so right now this is a good fight. This is pretty much, and he's got the backflip kicks.
And he's just
lo-
absolutely
Oh.
decimated me in that there. He's got his kicks, his punches, his spinning back fists as well. He's really like, for a character that he did say that he had accidentally chosen, he was really, really, he was quite
Yeah,
good with him, to be
I
fair.
would have stuck with Law. I think Law's a better character. He's much more accommodating for new players as well. He's just a very good character. But this
No, definitely. It's this is I say this is where I've kind of, I think this is where I've maybe got my Tekken prowess kind of in full flow at the minute.
yeah, that's it. So right now, it's sitting 3 rounds down, 2 to you, 1 the Cardinal. And the one Cardinal took was a pretty strong round. That last one was a strong round for you. So we have a fight in our
Yeah.
hands here. So you are on the verge of taking a win. Oh,
That's it.
I was-
That shoulder charge is just, it creates space, but then you can also just knock him to the floor and
was
do more
wondering
damage with
how-
the swords as well.
I was wondering how you were so consistent with that the whole way through the fight. I was like, how is he doing? He has the timing down perfectly. L1 is how you had the timing down so perfectly, mate.
It's
The
alright.
videos never lie.
It made up for the fact that I don't know how to do the rage combo thing. So
R1. It's literally R1.
this is me.
Some characters need special like statuses for it. So for me to use my rage, I have to be in the flamingo, which is where he lifts one
yes.
leg up. But for me to get in, that's pretty easy. It's just a left punch, right punch, and then a kick button, and the kick will fake. but he'll hold
And
the
you just
flamingo,
hold it in that position, yes.
and then I R1.
That was always my downfall whenever I would have to fight Warang, because
Yeah.
my cousin would have known every combo, every uh, stance movement of Warang, and just basically, I think one day just beat me in flamingo stance.
Yeah, what I love about him is you can fake a lot of your attacks. So you can fake a left kick and then you can take it into the right kick. And he's a really good character. I suppose if this was a 2D fighter, he'd be a mix-up character, wouldn't he? You don't know what he's going to do. So he's a high-pressure mix-up character. I just love the way he plays. He's hard to use. That's the only thing about him. It takes a lot of time in the lab, as they would say.
Yeah.
But once you get used to him, he's absolutely fantastic. So this is match number 4. So that score for you versus Cardinal ended 3-1 to you. So that's a really good win. So
Healthy.
right now I've won my one match. Cardinal's won one of his 2, and you have won one of your 2. So Sherry versus me. Let's get to it. So King versus Hoang, or Hoarang, however you say it. Trying to think how the commentator says it. I love the announcer in Tekken 7. He's so into
He's
it.
so good. Like, oh no, we're Ghost Rider again.
Still Ghost Rider. But here we go. See,
But he's so aggressive in his kicks and the that kickboxing style, whereas King is very much just, we're gonna do haymakers and deal a ton of damage that way, and then the sweeping leg.
So Sherry seems to have warmed up there because he threw a missed kick from me, which is very, very well done. But you'll notice me, I'll start using fakes and feints and all sorts of other stuff, and then just finish him off with 2 kicks to his chin and take the first round. That's 1-0 to
Now,
me.
did I see you throw a kick at Sherry there and he just absorbs it completely because he's charging?
So he's charging, yeah. So certain moves or certain button combinations, everyone can do it. You can take a hit but not interrupt your animations. So you can.
I think that's what always frustrated me about King, because he had that ability to basically absorb quite a lot of attacks that way.
So he's took me down to about 5% here. I've just finished him with my rage combo, but I'm about 5%. That was very close.
Tight.
It's 2-0.
Very, very
2-0 to me, but that was not an easy win. But you can see my domination here of the Tekken.
That's it.
My win
this
counter
is
there.
very much how it wants to be played. Me and you, I think that didn't help that me and you got a lot of practice in before.
Yeah.
The main body of challenge. Then there we are.
And
that's a whitewash.
That is 3-0. I don't remember that being 3-0 at all, but 3-0. That last round was just pressure constantly, and
that's it.
You just couldn't react.
I think you just wanted to put points on the board and put space between everyone else now, and you've come in, and I think you're just too quick for Sherry and King.
Sherry doesn't block. We said this in Street Fighter. Sherry honestly doesn't seem to block. Sherry just wants the attack, and when you pick King, you put yourself at a very big disadvantage. You want to play it that way. You can't play it like that with him. He wants to get in close, and because he hits hard. When you get hit by King, you know it. He wants to get in close. He wants to grab, and just the constant punching and kicking leaves him wide open. Wide open. I think his jab is like 10 or 11 frames long. It's brave and long.
No, that's it. I mean, for all he hits, it does open up to a lot of the combos, and I think that fight there from yourself shows that you're dealing equally as much damage with maybe 3 or 4 kicks than he is with maybe 2 jabs.
Yeah, pretty much. But I would say it was a good fight. It was pretty one-sided, apart from the second round where he took me right to the wire. I had about 5% health, but it brings us on. So that one ended 3-0 to me. So that is, I've won both of my games so far, which brings us on to the second last game of the extravaganza, and it is you versus Sherry.
It's coming in quick, and there's no time to rest up in these matches. You do forget that they're only 2-3 minutes ago, really.
So Sherry has played 2, lost 2. So Sherry needs to pick up a win in order to pick up points. But it's your Yatsumitsu versus his King, and let's see what happens here. And instantly in with a jab and I don't know, suplex. And he tries to
See,
go for the DDT and you take it. Beautiful.
but I think we have this game, from what I recall, was a lot tighter than I remember. There's a lot of blocked grabs on both parts as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this first round, we're very much trying to figure each other out of what we're trying to do. And he's blocked another
Yep.
one there as
That's a
well.
tech as well. He loves that jumping elbow. That's what he does, which leaves him wide open. But this is it. Oh
Yeah.
my days. You're both in about 20% health. He's got you in his rage combo and finishes it. That is 1-0 to Sherry. 1-0 to Sherry. Tom, what happened there, mate?
Just I think I've got a bit overzealous there, thinking, right, no, I've got him down, and then just kind of left myself open to the grab and his rage attack. Then
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and you've absorbed that.
I think
Oh.
I get into a very easy, quite a predictable trend there. I start to like get the elbows and the sword attacks, and then I'll.
Ah. Oh,
That's
again.
another one.
That's
Something's
another one.
and it saved my hide. There is what it's
Yes,
done.
it did. So it's 1-1. Sherry has landed his first hit of his rage combo and it's dropped again. I'm presuming it's because you were flat on the ground. He can't grab you. But I thought that first punch caused a
A
bounce, a
bounce up,
juggle. Mm-hmm.
unless
But
it's not so much on. I
clearly
suppose
not.
you get away more of that in Street Fighter than you would maybe in Tekken that way, but
Yeah, I suppose the ground in this is destructible. And maybe that's what's thrown the system a wee bit. But yeah.
me and Sherry are very much throwing caution to the wind on this run. Where
Ooh,
I'm not as clean as I was against Cardinal, even or even yourself. I'm very much just in the hope of throw everything at him and hope it sticks. But
that's what I was going to say. He's got you panicking a wee bit, I think. So right now
it's such a
it
different
is
style, though. That's the
two
thing.
2-1. You don't know how to deal with King. You need to get in his face and just let
That
him
was it. I
have it.
think that point there where I was just like, just juggle him, just keep him in the air, keep him away from where I can be,
Yep.
and
You've brought it
it's
back. It's
stop him
2-2.
from closing the gap on you. Just it's closing the spaces. That's the same way we did in Street Fighter Five last
Yep.
season. So this is another one gone to the wire. I don't remember this being as tight, actually. I thought it
Yeah.
was kind of a bit more one-sided for Sherry, to be honest.
Oh, 2-2. He's beating your ass here. Like, he's absolutely tanking you.
I did sit back and think to myself, don't engage, really. Just like if you can get him down and run the clock back, but he's just putting me to bed. Really
Yeah.
a bit.
Oh, a wee late tech there, but they all count. Ah, and
That's
that's
it.
it.
No, he's.
That is it.
It was a
So,
struggle. I think that was very much a panic fight, that one, but I think it was because I just his style, Mickey's style in that is so unpredictable. It's kind of hard to
mhm.
know what he's doing, and King's just a different animal, I think, compared to Devil Jin and um, Hwarang.
Yeah, it's weird. King is really slow, but if he connects with the first hit and then combos, you are in a world of trouble because he hits so hard and he can chain any hit into a throw at any time. You
Yeah,
don't know what he's gonna do, but here that was a good win for Sherry. So that ended 3-2 to Sherry. So you've took another L there, but one thing you have done in the games you haven't won, you've got the 2 rounds.
yeah.
So you're still picking up
So it
points.
keeps me in a shout at least. And now can if I can hope the Cardinal can spring on a big upset, that'll do
That's it.
wonders.
That's it. So it is me versus Cardinal, the last fight in the round robin. Let's see how we go. Let's see how we get on. So it
I'm excited
is.
about this one because Cardinal's a kind of a funny one. You don't know which one's going to show up at the minute. Yes,
I
he
just want
installed the game an hour before we were due to play, but
to.
he's shown in the first two fights there he has the capability to put the points on and actually like
Yeah,
put on a show.
he's no pushover. So right now I'm taking this and I was like, okay, I don't know how he's gonna fight. So let's just test and see. Let's just see what he does. See what his tactics are, and his tactics is to get hits whenever he can. He's a good punisher. He does, if you mess up against him, he does tend to punish you.
That's it. Now
But
he stays just out of reach enough and allows you in
yeah,
to grab you on a
rage
counter
combo.
as well. That the rage combo is just it's so deadly, and it's just a kick to the chest ends that round
And that's it.
quite quickly.
Yeah, but he got me down to rage, so he's doing something right.
A
The big
rage must
man
activate in the
has
last like 15%.
twenty
Like
percent.
yeah,
20% of your health, you'll get rage. So you can do rage arts, or you can do your rage combo, your rage drive, I think it's called. The rage arts are actually really good.
oh, that's a very good
Um,
evasive maneuver from
really nice spin, really nice spin. So it's currently 1-0 to me, 2-0 to me.
2-0 now. For all of
But
Cardinal's maneuverability around the arena, he's just not landing in this game.
he likes to take himself out very far. He doesn't give himself much. He's he's good at maneuvering, but he's not good at spacing, and he leaves too big. While he dodges you, he leaves too big a gap for him to capitalize on it. But he's really good at that. Every time I do that kick, it spins him. He gets around very
Oh,
quick and then ends it. So it is 2-1 to
it's
me.
just seeing that combo that you land. I've saw you land a couple of times there where you kind of it's like a chest kick, but you pull him through and it switches you the character's
Spins
orientation.
him. Hmm.
I love that maneuver. It's just bloody good, and it keeps you constantly in control.
Yeah, that's it. And that is it. That one ended 3-1 to me. Look at this. I've been keeping count of these scores. I didn't need to bother.
Don't you need to worry. I've got your back on this one.
Our editor has earned his money this month. So, yeah, as I said, that last game then ended 3-1 to me. So here are the final results of the fight. Tom versus me. Tom lost 3-2. Sherry versus Cardinal. Sherry lost 3-2. Tom versus Cardinal. Cardinal lost 3-1. Sherry versus me. Sherry lost 3-0. Tom versus Sherry. Tom lost 3-2. And Cardinal versus me. Cardinal lost 3-1. So that means throughout this tournament or extravaganza or round robin, whatever we're calling it, I don't know what it is. The points are as follows. Sherry has picked up 5 points. Cardinal
Respectable.
has picked up 5 points. Tomahawk, you've picked up 7, which is a good showing,
Keeping the pace up.
but not as good as my showing.
No.
I won all 3 of my fights, so I picked up 9 points. How does it feel, Tomahawk? That gap is growing, mate.
I just it's all yeah. We'll talk about the points later. I'm too busy laughing at Sherry and how he looks so perfect on King's body.
I know. It's amazing. So it is. It just fits so perfectly.
Oh dear, I have too much time on my hands to get these edits, like these bits and pieces done. Like, but keeps us entertained if nothing else.
Exactly.
But no, that's it. I mean, what's that? 33% win rate. But what I've done is I've still bagged. I've took it to the maximum rounds basically every time. So points of points. A few more wins would have been nice. But I think just a bit more of a clinical showing against Sherry might have
Mhm.
just it bumps me up by a point really at the end of the day. But it still would have been 1 point closer, I suppose.
1 point more. Yeah, that's it. That's it. It gives me a wee bit more wiggle room in the league. It's a lead that's growing rather than shrinking, which is all you can do
Exactly.
at the end of the day. Do what you take care of yourself, and everything takes care of it for you. And that's just the way it goes in high scores, high stakes. But yeah, that was a nice sort of format to use for fighting games. I thought it was better than the tournament we used for Street Fighter 5 because we got to play everyone. We all played more games.
That's it,
Um,
yes. And this is a lot more quick fire. I remember the tournament still being right. We have to get the first one, then we have to get the second one, and then we'll have to do the final. Then it
Mhm.
felt a bit of a process, whereas this one was just like boom, next round, boom, next round, boom, next
Yeah,
round.
I think that was because I think Street Fighter we did because it was a tournament. We did tournament rules, so it was 3 individual fights per round per bracket.
Yeah,
effectively.
so you're still playing about nine rounds, 9 fights
Mhm.
per. Yeah, so it felt a bit longer, whereas this one just one and done, and you're playing up to 5 fights that way. So
Mhm.
great way format, great way setup.
Yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, let's get to what all these points mean for the league. So yeah, Tekken. Are
Gosh,
we whitewash for me? I like that. It's the second one in a row. It wasn't easy though. I mean, none of my rounds. I mean, whilst I won all my fights, I was pushed pretty hard, and well, you're one. But Cardinal and Sherry, to his credit as well, got me down pretty low health on more than one round. So whilst it might sound it was easy for me, it really wasn't.
I know you're still working for those 3 rounds. It's not a case of you've dominated for
No.
those 9 points. You've been like you've come through the other side, but
Hmm.
you're battered and bruised. To be fair,
But I'm coming away with 9 points. So
exactly. That's what we want
what
to see.
what do these points do for the league? Let's try to not rip anyone off here of points this week, Tom. So keep me right, okay?
That's
So
it. I'm gonna be the administrator on this one, so I'll back
so
you up.
so the league now looks like this. In fourth place on 20 points is Sherry. In third on 26 points is Cardinal. In second place on 48 points is Tomahawk.
Take
And in
that.
first place on a massive 61 is me. Massive. These last 2 weeks have been very, very good to me. Tomahawk.
Yeah, it's just if you do come away with this cup at the end of the season, just know that Resident Evil will have done it for you. That bloody key items will have been. It is what it is, but I can't make excuses now. 2 weeks later, but it's put you in a very good position.
It sounds like sour grapes.
It is sour grapes. Let's face it. Like
Sounds like sour grapes. If only all those key items in Resident Evil were in the same place for everyone's game. Oh, if only that was the case.
it's in the past. It's in the past. I'm all about looking forward in this podcast now.
That's it. So Tekken is done. You can Tekken at home because we don't need it anymore.
Should have said taking that to the bank, but there we are. No, we're not doing puns. We did that. We did that at Tiger Woods, and we got nowhere.
I'm not a stand-up comedian, Tom. I'm a podcast host. Okay.
Tell me this though: did you delete it off the hard drive after we finished, or have you kept it?
Oh no, Tekken's been on my hard drive since I bought it. No, it's one of those ones that doesn't move.
I suppose you bought it. That's right. It's on. I had it on Plus then, so no, I've kept it as well. I fully plan to, tick over on it. Just every so often, I might bring some fellow chums down to do a bit of multiplayer on it sometime
Yeah,
soon as well.
it's one of those games. It's a PlayStation 4 game, so I actually have a load of PlayStation 4 games on my portable hard drive. I just
Aye,
plug it into the
that's a good
back end
one.
PlayStation. So it's that Street Fighter 5. Once I downloaded them, that have never been deleted, never. Because I know I'll stick them on for an hour. I was playing actually before we start recording tonight. Was bringing Steve into the online arena, so it was
I
hard.
felt the wrath of Steve after record. It was
Steve is
awful.
an absolute brutal character. He's so strong. It is.
But he can't kick, was it? Did you say, or he can't?
No, he can't kick. He can kick on the ground, but it's a very deliberate move. It's like down, forward, wait a second, and then hit a kick button, and he'll just kick when he's knocked down. But he can't kick otherwise.
No, I remember
His
when we
2
finished
kick
off.
buttons are weaves.
We had everything. We had everything all done, wrapped up. Everyone logged off, and I think me and you played a few extra after that. And you just turned on to Steve, and it was just like, "What is he done?" And you just annihilated me.
Yeah, he's
I
a
just
good
didn't
character.
see it. Did not see it coming. Just couldn't defend.
Most people don't know what to do with him because he's fast and he's really strong, and he's one of these characters. He's like King. If he hits you with he's easy blocked because he's quite slow wind up. But once the first hit makes contact,
The chains
you're
are bigger.
you're in
Yeah.
a world of pain, and most of his hits cause they're juggle. They cause a juggle, so you can if you're really good with Steve. Like tonight, I was playing a fellow Steve. He just literally, I hit him at the start of the round. He juggled me until I was dead. Just absolutely
Fair.
brutalized me. And I was like, wow. Ugh,
Work cut out.
It's gonna be one of these online battles where I'm gonna fight you until I get a point.
That's it. Do you find that though with playing it online, it's very much once you hit the glass ceiling, it's kind of impossible to go past it, or
Yes and no. Tekken has that a really annoying demotion system, so you just bounce up and down levels
oh,
once.
okay.
So it does that. So you'll get beat 3 matches and then you'll bop down and then you'll win 1 or 2 and then you'll come back up, and it's just that sort of
Did you
stuff.
just yo-yo then after that then?
Yeah, I
Oh,
just think
right.
Tekken. I think the only thing I could say negative about Tekken is it's so reliant on you learning the move list, which is fine for like Street Fighter or whatever. But every character in Tekken, it's a 30-year-old game series. Every character is like 150 moves,
Yeah.
and it's like, and just even just doing the suggested combos and stuff is just it's hard because they have like 70 of them. Steve has a ridiculous amount of suggested combos, which is what I love about Tekken. Is like you could do this, or you could just do whatever you want and make your own combos up. Where Street Fighter's a lot more. This leads into this, leads into this, leads into this.
Yeah.
Whereas Tekken's way more freeform. It just allows you. It's like jazz, like it's like jazz music to Street Fighter's classical.
Ah, that's
Where
it. Yeah, it's a bit more. You can have a bit more creative
freeform.
license. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that about Tekken, but yeah, the move lists are daunting, and with Tekken 8, it's only going to get bigger.
It's alarming. I still remember back in the day, you just were like, what?
Yeah.
So I think I learned the very first 10-hit combo and then just went, okay, that's it. I've committed that to memory forever.
That'll do. That'll do, mate. And speaking of doing us, will that do us for Tekken? Shall we get to the
I think
social
so.
roundup?
That's us ticked off now. We can put that one to bed.
Yep, Tekken. Another win for Luvva. 2 in a row. 2 in a row.
Tekken
Long
us home,
live-
lover.
Long live the king. That is it, Tomahawk. Episode 10, Season 2 is all wrapped up. It leaves us 2 jobs to do, and then we can go home and see our
Go to
family who are
bed.
wondering where we are, because this has been a long one. Daddy? Is that you, Daddy? Daddy's
Tomahawk,
home.
are you coming home?
No. I've got to do this podcast. We got to wrap it up.
Gotta do it again next week.
So, first things first. Next week, our challenge game is Team Sonic Racing. And the challenge is TBC because we don't do our research in this podcast. But rest assured, listeners, it will be racing of some description. So if you haven't already, get yourself back to episode 9 of season 1, Grip, and see what happens when this podcast get their hands on a racing game.
Oh, carnage.
Carnage. It will be good. It will be good fun. But we haven't decided just quite yet what the challenge is going to be. And the points will be probably back to normal for next week, because the week after next is the finale, and we have a big one.
A big doozy of a
We have a
point
doozy
system.
of a challenge. It's going to be ridiculous. So make sure you're here next week for Team Sonic Racing. And now that that's done, all we have to do is my favorite part of the podcast, which is try to remember everything I have to remember. So deep breath. Keep me right, Tomahawk, because he wasn't very good at this last week.
He's missed 16 years of this podcast, so I feel he doesn't know what the internet is, you see.
Yeah, he's forgotten altogether. So the social roundup. So if you like what we're doing with this podcast, if you're enjoying the podcast, then the easiest, simplest way of supporting us is by hitting the subscribe button, hitting the follow button, or whatever that button says on the platform that you're watching or listening to this on. If you have done that already and you want to do more, then what you can do if you're listening on Spotify is scroll into the description. There will be a poll and there will be a Q&A question. If you just want to interact with them, then it allows us to hear your voice. If you want to make suggestions on things that you really enjoy about the podcast, or even better, things that you don't particularly enjoy about the podcast, then down there is the way to get your voice heard. We will listen and we will take on board everything that people say. If you're not listening on Spotify and you think, here, I like polls and I like Q&As, then get yourself over to anchor.fm/high scores high stakes, because the polls and Q&As are there also. And to my knowledge, you don't even need to sign into an account to take part in polls or Q&As. So if you want to get your voice heard by us, get yourself over there and get on those Q&As and get onto those polls. If you are listening on a service, so Apple Podcasts or Google Podcast, if that's
Google,
still
yep.
a thing, and you're wondering what the heck are these people talking about? They sound like they're watching a video game of some description. Then get yourself over to youtube.com/high scores high stakes. There we are putting up all of our episodes in full video form. So if you want to see our glorious faces and our even more glorious gameplay, that's how you can do it without having to buy a subscription to Spotify. You don't have to thank me, but you're welcome. if, if you think I've took part in those Q&As and I've took part in those polls, but I still have more to say to these boys, and you want to say more to these boys, get yourself over to Discord. The link for our Discord server is in the description of this episode and every episode. Over there, we have loads of channels, one for each episode, one for each challenge. We also have a what are you playing? And it's, to be fair, recently it's been really, really active. People are starting to have meaningful conversations in those things. So get yourself over there. Every server of a challenge has a leaderboard running on it as well. So if you've seen a challenge and you know you can beat us, get yourself some proof, a screenshot, whatever it might be, a video, link it in the Discord server and get your name added to the high scores table on every server. It is the place to go for continuing discussion on high scores, high stakes. But if you want little screenshot snippets of top quality content, there's loads of places you can get that. The first place is x.com, formerly Twitter.
Still Twitter.
There we do loads of stuff. We do memes, we talk about video games, we do This Day on PlayStation, where most days, whenever our social media manager can remember it, This Day on PlayStation. Where if he hasn't had a particularly hard day at work, he will dive through the annals of PlayStation history and pick a game that was released on that day, and he'll do some random post on it, usually something funny and usually with a discussion point for everyone to talk. So if you want to join in those conversations, x.com/hscores. If you don't fancy that, but you do like Instagram, good news for you. We're there too at High Scores High Stakes Podcast. There we do loads of short form videos. We do loads of little league updates, little snippets of the podcast, of the challenges that we're doing. There's lots and lots and lots of top quality work going into our Instagram. Get yourself over there and join in the conversation. Loads of interaction going on Instagram. So do get yourself over there. So it's instagram.com/high scores high stakes podcast. If you fancy social media, but you fancy it of a more Chinese flavor, get yourself to tiktok.com /high scores high stakes podcast. Or is it just high scores high stakes?
Indeed, I think it's High Scores High Stakes podcast.
It is. It's
Yes.
at high scores high stakes. There we do short form videos. Obviously, it's TikTok. It's all you can do on it. But yourself, there's lots and lots of content going on. So lots and lots of content happening all over social medias, all over the internet, folks. And I think that leaves us with just one more thing to say. Twitch.tv/high scores high stakes, where we are still planning on streaming sometime.
TBC, very much TBC.
TBC. I think it might be a case of December at the earliest at this stage of the game, because we are doing lots and lots of other things in the background. There's more to come for this part. Yay! Can't wait.
Oh god,
Don't have
just
an-
more. This part's gonna be longer than the challenges at the rate the way we're
It'll be
going.
longer than we're gonna have to do a social media podcast just in link date
Imagine
every
if we
episode.
had one place where we could just put them all in, like say a
Imagine.
website. We could just say go to the
Imagine.
website and it has everything. TBC, who
bits.
knows?
Who knows? Who knows? It's not easy, this malarkey. But twitch.tv/high scores, high stakes. There you'll find, when we can, one of us, there'll never be all four of us, but one of us will be there streaming a game we're playing casually, or we're practicing a challenge for an upcoming episode, or maybe even me speedrunning Resident Evil remake. Who knows? Who knows? But there will be, at some point, there will be one of us streaming there at various times of the week. So just keep an eye on social media channels, so x.com or Instagram, to see when we go live there. But do give us a wee follow there as well, so you don't miss anything. And it is a good way for you guys to interact with us in real time as well.
Absolutely.
Once it gets up and running, it'll be fantastic. And speaking of getting things up and running, it's time for us to get up off our seats and go running back to our families, Tomahawk. So on that note, the last thing to say is, I have been Mr. Luvva. This has been High Scores, High Stakes. See you on Monday. Love y'all. Bye.
See ya.